I'd like to call the today's meeting of the Middleborough Board of Selectmen to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome to the Monday, April 28th, 2014 meeting of the Middleborough Board of Selectmen. We are being taped and broadcast on MCCAM. Is that MCCAM? Yeah. And broadcast on Verizon and Comcast. Does any member of the board have anything under unanticipated? I do have one thing. I was at the Y the other day and picking up my kids, not going to the gym, just picking up the kids. But I was there and they had asked me about possibly installing a crosswalk from the YMCA facility to the other side of the street, because there is a sidewalk on the other side of the street and there is not on the YMCA side. So I'm going to ask, if you guys don't have any objections, I'm going to ask Charlie and Chris Peck to look into that for us and see if we can do that. So that's it for me under unanticipated. Does any member of the audience have anything under unanticipated?
Hi, good evening. I'm Christopher Hart. I'm the president and founder of the Nathan Hale Foundation, executive director of the Nathan Hale Veterans Outreach Center. And we just wanted to make an announcement that we moved next door. We're at 260 Center Street. We were in B. We moved to A. We're right next door to the Central Cafe. And I don't know if you're aware of other services that we provide, but we provide 5 days a week of transportation for Middleborough to and from the VA facilities. We have a food pantry. We go through roughly 4,000 pounds a month of food for the town of Middleborough. We just purchased a $3,700 new freezer for Middleborough. It's big, gigantic stainless steel doors. It's really nice. Some businesses in Plymouth did a fundraiser for us to purchase it. And we have combat counseling, mental health counseling, PTSD counseling. We have wellness programs like bicycle riding. We have tandem bikes for our blind people. We have recumbent bikes for people with injuries. We have mountain bikes, road bikes, big bikes, little bikes. So if there's anyone in town that has a service that would like to, that could help us with something, we'd appreciate it. We cover 16 towns, but of all the towns we cover, Middleborough is the easiest town. The management office, very nice, excellent people, great board of selectmen. We got the best veteran service officer, I think, in the entire state. Very easy to work with. No problems, been here our 5th year. We're serving 7,500 people a year. Right now we're looking at property to build a Veterans Wellness Center, but it's more targeted toward amputees and traumatic brain injuries. So we just got a $100,000 pool donated. It's going to have agricultural, horticultural, cultural arts programs, kind of giving people, career opportunities, and other than just going to a career center and looking at screens all day. We just feel that there's definitely more we could do for veterans, so we're trying to fill that void now. So we're looking at properties in Carver, Kingston, Plymouth, recently Middleborough. We looked at a couple lots around here, so don't be surprised if we build it here. Because it's like I said, it's an easy town to get along with. Plymouth, it's a great town, but it's a big town. You know what I mean? Trying to get something done, it's like, it takes like 2 hours to watch 60 Minutes there. You know what I mean? Everything's happened so slow. Here, it's call the manager's office. You get a response within an hour. Paul's the same way. He answers his phone. Saves lives, this guy. He's great. And so thank you very much, and we love your town. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Hart. Do you have a website?
Yeah. www.nathanhaleveteransoutreachcenter.org, PlymouthMass.com. Sorry.
Beautiful, thank you. If there's anything we can do to help, give us a call.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
I guess we fall under unanticipated. Where are we? Hi, I'm Peg Holzmer, and
Ellie DeAngelis.
we're here to remind everybody that we're having the Middleborough Cultural Council reception this Sunday at 1 o'clock at the library, and it's free with light refreshments, and we want to make sure that everybody comes. This is our second reception. Want to thank Selectman McKinnon and Selectman Frawley, who came last year for our first one. Leanna, am I saying your name right? I'm sorry. Liliane?
Leilani.
Leilani, thank you, sorry. And you'll be there for the Herring Run
Yes, I will.
Festival. And Mr. Knowlton, Selectman Knowlton, will be there to represent the selectmen. So we want to thank you for that.
Yes, it's just important to let people know that what these recipients receive and what it does for the town, so. And one more announcement I'm making is the COA breakfast. This Saturday morning, Middleborough Friends is having that COA breakfast. It's a great take, great food. We're going to have face painting for the kids. It's the usual menu, but this is our 7th. We've raised a lot of money for the COA, so we hope to see you there, 8 till 11, okay?
And 1 to 3 Sunday at the Middleborough Library. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may continue with the Middleborough Friends breakfast, $6 breakfast, that's eggs,
And
bacon.
you are?
I'm sorry, my name is Brian Giovanni, I'm also a Middleborough friend, and all the money that comes in goes to the COA. We're fortunate we have a benefactor that has purchased all the food, so we're able to take all the money that we take in and give it to the COA Special Fund, which does things like whether it was replacing that big screen TV. They do a lot of things for the seniors. They have a Wii bowling tournament that the seniors participate in. Believe it or not, it's funny to think of it, but it's great activity for the seniors, and someday I may be there, so I'm hoping that we continue to do this. But it's a $6 adult meal, $3 for children, and a $20 family meal, which is 2 adults and 3 kids, which isn't a bad take for pancakes, bacon, sausage, eggs, ham, anything else? Coffee. We have coffee and water and milk, so a lot of good stuff. This Saturday, 8 to 11. Please come on down. It's for the COA. Thank you.
Also going on, Paul Provencher, Veteran Service Officer for the town. Also going on this Saturday is the annual replacing the flags on the graves of the veterans. And I would like to let the community know that they can volunteer for that. We meet at 7 o'clock at the VFW up on Station Street. Have a free breakfast, break into teams, go out, and before noontime we'll have all the cemetery flags replaced. Also over the weekend, Adrian Haynes passed away. Adrian was a lifelong member of the community, a veteran of World War II, a Wampanoag, and very active in all the veterans organizations around the area, the VFW, American Legion, and DAV. They're going to have the Wampanoag tribe and the veterans community are having a memorial service right here in our Veterans Memorial Park next Tuesday, the 6th of May at 11 a.m. And if we have inclement weather, I'm hopeful that the selectmen will allow me to use the auditorium upstairs for the same ceremony. On the 16th of May, the Middleborough Veterans Honor Guard is having their annual fundraiser, a spaghetti supper at the VFW from 6 to 8. Tickets are $10, and both myself and Bruce Wright have tickets for that if people want to buy tickets. And that's all I have.
What day is the spaghetti done?
It's on a Friday, the 16th of May, from 6 to 8.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. McKinnon?
Paul, before you leave, are you asking to use the hall on a specific day, or?
I'm asking for permission in case of clement weather to use the auditorium upstairs for the memorial service for Adrian Haynes.
On?
May 6th
May
at 11
6th
a.m.?
at 11 a.m. I looked on the calendar. It's open at that period of time.
Open?
Yeah, I mean, you remember, we do that now,
Oh,
so.
I'm sorry.
As long as
Kinda early.
as long as Paul fills out the proper form, I think we can handle it.
Okay.
Consider it done. Thank you.
All right, announcements and recognitions. Anyone on the board have anything?
Mr. Chair, I'd first like to thank Representative Oral for the 17th. She hosted a wonderful, very informative behind-the-scenes tour at the State House for the Chamber of Commerce and a class from the high school here in Middleborough. We went, we had a great time. They even fed us. It was nice. We got to go out on the governor's private balcony. Wonderful time. Thank you, Representative Oral. And this just came in. It is a note to the Board of Selectmen. I am writing with words of congratulations and gratitude for the totally amazing success of the first annual Herring Run Festival. My husband and I attended this event as a vendor. The volume of visitors was incredible. We have lived in Middleborough for years and yet met so many neighbors who we never have had contact with. It is our hope that more events such as this festival can be held at our beautiful Oliver Mill Park. Thank you for the well-planned, well-executed, family-oriented festival. It truly has brought our community closer. Sincerely, Lynn Latondra Cunha. So I just wanted to say thank you, Lynn. We're planning the next one already.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Knowlton?
the Canoe River Race is coming up, sponsored by the Middleborough Park Department and the Taunton River Watershed Alliance. Come and join us for an exciting canoe race, free burgers or hot dogs with chips and drink at the end of the race for all registered participants. Trophies, Mr. Chair, there'll be trophies, awarded to the top 3 in each category. The date is, I believe the date's wrong on the flyer here. It says Saturday, May 18th, but I think it's Saturday, May 17th, with a rain date of Sunday, May 18th.
I thought it was May 10th.
Yes, so did I.
Then it's really wrong.
We're going to have to look into this. I don't mind showing up early, but I do not
a
want
week
to show up
early.
late.
Yeah.
show
The
up
race will
early.
start at 11 a.m.
For you, it's
Pre-registration is $20 per boat. You can sign up at the Massey Fieldhouse, located at 26 Jackson Street in Middleborough. Day of the race registration is $30. You can sign up on race day from 8:30 till 10:30 on Old Bridge Street in Lakeville. The race begins at Old Bridge Street in Lakeville and ends at the Oliver Mill Park in Middleborough. And this is a great way to fund the park department. All registration funds are donations to assist the park department's ongoing programs. You can make checks payable to Middleborough Park Department donations. And the phone number that I'll be calling tomorrow to make sure we have the right date is 508-946-2440. In accordance with state laws, require that each person wear a personal flotation device for safety, no more than 2 people per canoe, an extra paddle is required, and no alcohol is allowed. It's a great event. I've been participating for a few years now. My son and I will be doing a generational
Father-son.
yeah, father-son kayak, and we'll have a lot of fun doing it, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of people there.
Yeah, it really is. It's a great, great time.
It
And they
is.
have a cookout afterwards. They have the rubber ducky race down the herring run, which probably isn't EPA certified or anything, but it's a good time. I'll definitely be there as well. Does anyone else have any announcements? I was really hoping someone would have one of these 7 announcements that I have to read now. All right, the town of Middleborough, through the DPW, is sponsoring a rain barrel program. The pickup date for the rain barrels is June 10th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the DPW yard. They're not for free, but the deadline to order is June 3rd at 5 p.m. And the pickup, you can pick them up at the DPW in Middleborough. Thought I had something more about it, but. The website is the www.greatamericanrainbarrel.com, and then you can look up Middleborough.com, Middleborough on there, and that has all the specs and everything. And it's, if you're even slightly interested in it, I would go to the website because it's they have a ton of information, which I thought I printed out, but I don't have that. Like I said, it's a pretty good program. It's kind of a neat thing to do, and I'd like to thank Chris Peck for having that available for the residents of Middleborough. And the Middleborough Department of Public Works will also be having free tree seedlings available for Middleborough residents this year. They're featuring red maple trees. The tree seedlings will be available at Middleborough DPW at 48 Wayham Street, Thursday, May 1st, beginning at 9 a.m. Quantities are limited, so seedlings will be available only as long as supplies last. Residents are requested to plant the seedlings on their property in a location where they are visible from the road. For more information, call the DPW at 508-946-2481. The South Shore Recycling Cooperative is coordinating 3 free electronic waste collection events with the CRT Recycling of Brockton on the following Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. May 3rd at the South Shore Vocational Technical High School at 476 Webster Street, which is on Route 123. May 17th at the Rockland Transfer Station on Beach Street, and June 7th at the Situate Transfer Station, 280 Driftway Road. Residents, businesses, municipal departments may bring the following items for recycling at no charge: televisions, computer monitors, laptops, printers, keyboards and pots, DVD players, VCRs, stereo equipment, radios, cell phones, telephones, fax machines, toasters, irons, and any small item with an electrical cord. Large appliances such as refrigerators, stoves, washing machines, and dryers will also be accepted. Please note the previous posting excluding large appliances are now included. I'm sorry. So that's that. The Quincy College is going to have a Memorial Day commemoration on May 1st. Please join the Quincy College community at the Plymouth campus to honor the heroes of our country. Refreshments will be provided and guest speakers will be present during this event. The Norfolk County Sheriff's Office Color Guard is presenting the colors. Thursday, May 1st, starting at 11:30 a.m. Quincy College at the Plymouth campus, 36 Cottage Park, Plymouth, Mass. 02360. And April 30th is America's Prepare-a-thon National Day of Action. Knowing what to do before, during, and after an emergency is a critical part of being prepared and may make all the difference when seconds count. Use this site, America's Prepare-a-thon National Day of Action, to learn more about potential emergencies that can happen and how to prepare for and respond to them. We will have information posted on the town website and remind the residents of Middleborough to be prepared for emergencies and disasters by making a family communication plan, a family 72-hour kit, and get involved by joining and training with the Middleborough Medical Reserve Corps and the Citizens Emergency Response Team. Please contact Middleborough Health Department for more information. Citizen Emergency Response Team training has just begun on Tuesday evening, 6:30 p.m. at Town Hall Annex, 3rd floor meeting room. Please contact the Health Department to register. Anybody else from the audience have any announcements?
Mr. Crowley,
Mr. McKinnon?
relative to the recycling notice, can we get that on the website so that people will have those dates and times and the materials that can be, the electronic materials that can be recycled?
I am sure we can do that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All right. Minutes. I would entertain a motion to accept the 4/7/14 regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Mr. Chair, on the April 7th, so that I don't push you out of your position, I was nominated and approved as chairman, vice chairman, not chairman. You have chairman in there. It could be someone's worst dream. So
Be everyone's worst.
exactly, that's why I'm saying it.
See, if you want to read all those announcements, feel free.
No, I just want to clarify it, vice chairman, that's all. Thank you.
Good catch on that.
I could have left it in and,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. I would entertain a motion to accept the executive session minutes for that same day.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. I would entertain a motion to authorize the chairman or his designee to sign the warrants for the week ending 4/26/14.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. All right, new business. Vote to approve use of town roads for the MS bike ride on June 21st, 2014.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. McKinnon,
make a motion to approve the bike ride for the MS bike ride on 6/21/14 with the caveat that they make sure that they police up after themselves.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
all right, we have a motion. We have a motion and a
That was a
second. I see here that the fire department and the police department are okay with this. And I think we've done this a couple of years in a row now, right?
Right.
So, all right. Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the use of town roads for the YMCA Triathlon on June 7th.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Chairman?
I think should we just include the caveat that they clean up the roads after themselves?
Well, it's not in writing on there, so I want to make sure we stipulate it every time until we can get it in writing on there.
I thought we asked that that be done.
We did. I
Yeah.
put it in every letter now.
Good.
All right.
So,
Mr. Montepert is very happy right now. So I have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Mr. Knowlton?
Just a question. Do we know this, if this race is a fundraiser, or, I know the first one is for MS. I'm just wondering, I didn't see anything included in the materials,
I think it's a fundraiser for the Y,
just for the Y. Okay.
to help subsidize the Y. I was a little worried you were going to ask me if I wanted to race in this.
No challenge.
All right. I mean, if you want to, I will. But, all right. Any more comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. All right. I would entertain a motion to ratify. We're going to skip that because Mr. McNair is no longer interested in that position. I would entertain a motion to appoint auxiliary police officers as seasonal police officers from May 4th, 2014 to August 22nd, 2014, as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gates, Chief Gates, would you like
Well,
to speak
if
to
you
it?
had any questions, I wanted to be here.
Does anybody have any questions on this?
Don't forget the matrons, too. Don't forget the 2 matrons.
That's
And
next.
that's the next one. Does anybody have any comments or questions about the auxiliary police officers as seasonal police officers? No?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I would entertain a motion to appoint the police matrons as presented.
So moved.
second.
Any comments or questions? Chief Gates, anything to add? No?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. McKinnon?
I was talking to the chief. I was talking to one of the matrons one night recently at the station, and seems like a good troop, and
Well, the problem is we only have one Amy. She's also does the 911 too, so she's actually said if you can get another one or two, then it would help out.
oh, okay. We'll look into that. Maybe we can have the ex-chairman do it.
That would be you,
But
Mr.
anyway, she was
McKinnon.
very good, very knowledgeable, explained. Yeah, I don't think I'll make the matron thing, I don't know.
yeah.
I think I have a problem with that, I don't know.
Yeah.
But she was very articulate and knowledgeable about what's going on, and has taken some classes in it too, so.
Yeah,
very
she's
helpful.
actually dispatcher certified, so
Right.
if she's there, she can pick up 911, everything.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I'd entertain a motion to approve the Wright Pierce invoices. The first one for the schematic design in the amount of $81,774.62. Charlie, do you want to?
Yeah, why don't I give you an update? We had a meeting with the EPA and the DEP last week to try and find out when we're going to actually get the permit. That, we explained to them that we're now, finished with schematic design, and before we get into final design, we really need to know what we're designing for. They told us that within a week to 2 weeks, we would have the permit. It was going to be sent out to the DEP last week, and the DEP has to sign off on it as well. So we're expecting that, You know, we were told that there are no surprises in it, that, you know, very much respects, you know, was in the draft that we received back in November. And even beyond that, they've given us a little flexibility in terms of some of the reporting we have to do. So, you know, it'll even be a little less onerous than we anticipated. So that's the good news, you know, so we should have that shortly, should be able to proceed into final design. The other thing I think you saw in the paper last week was that we are on the list for SRF funding, the 2% funding that we've been seeking. We've made the first cut, and now we'll be working on, you know, the percentage that will be 0% funding. That involves finishing the comprehensive wastewater management plan and getting that in by October, along with the design documents by October. You know, our other pitch to the EPA was, listen, we've got to get all this into the DEP by October, otherwise we lose that on the financing we're counting on. So that was another, you know, I think argument that they understood. So that'll be what we'll be working on next is, you know, how much of the project we'll be able to get at 0%. And we're in line for that as well. So
Beautiful.
things continue to move in the
Forward,
right
yeah.
direction.
Do we have a motion on this?
Not yet.
I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions?
Mr. Chair, if I may, so we're right on schedule with all of these? Is it right on the budget?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
And, you know, we believe we'll be able to hit, you know, now that we'll know what the permit is, we'll be able to hit the October 15th targets, and, you know, we'll be able to get it out to bid, and we need a contractor signed by April 1st to qualify for the, hopefully the environmental justice grant funding, which we're also going to be seeking. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Anything else?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. McKinnon?
Charlie, is there any other grant money out there that,
Well, interestingly, we approached the U.S. Department of Agriculture because they have a certain amount of money that they also give out for projects such as this. Trouble is, I got a letter today that they believe we don't qualify because they really fund communities 10,000 population and under. We tried to make the argument that the sewer district serves a population of under 10,000, which it does, but they weren't buying it. So we have to look into that, see if we can appeal that decision. It's not a lot of money. That would have been only in the several $100,000, but still, every little bit would help. Sure. So we tried it. It doesn't look very likely, but we'll, you know, pursue it as far as we can.
okay.
All right. Anybody else have anything? Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Beautiful. I would entertain a motion to approve the right pass invoice for pilot testing in the amount of $5,715.50.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Charlie, is that's pretty much covered on the same?
Yeah, it's all part of the same. The way they invoice us is they break it out into categories of work.
All right, anybody have any questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I would entertain a motion to approve a right pass invoice for subcontractor services in the amount of $13,924.26.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I'd entertain a motion to approve a right pass invoice for CWMP in the amount of $9,835. And Charlie, could you just tell us what that means?
That is the comprehensive wastewater management plan.
All right.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
One, how far are we along on that plan?
Well, the initial draft has went to the DEP today. In fact, I'll be emailing you folks a copy of it probably tomorrow. So we, you know, basically they've come up with two study area, Woods Pond being one, and I forget the other one. And those are the ones that we're going to evaluate to see whether there's something more we need to do in terms of, you know, providing some sort of wastewater management services to those areas. So I think you might remember that there were maybe 30-odd study areas throughout the town. They broke up the town, and these were the only two that pointed high enough to require further investigation. And that's what the next stage of the plan will cover.
Do we know how much the next stage will cost?
The total contract, I think, for this was about 150,000. No, this was, yeah, this total project was about $140,000, I think, for the plant. When you're looking at millions of dollars in saving,
No, that's...
short money to pursue.
Okay, good, thank you.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I would entertain a motion to nominate Mr. Richard Young to the Old Colony Elder Services Board of Directors from July 1st, 2014 to June 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any comments or questions?
Question, why wouldn't that be earlier, or is this going to stick with our...
Well, this was, remember, this isn't one of our committees. This is one of our people serving on the regional committee, so that they dictate.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Entertain a motion to approve the renewal of a secondhand junk dealer's license for K&M Thrift and Collectibles Incorporated at 52 Center Street.
So moved.
Second.
Question?
Mr. McKenna?
Taxes and paperwork's all squared away?
Okay.
All right.
Does anyone else have any other questions? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
You need
A
to
little
write it down?
pause there for a second.
You need to write that down? or-
Passes unanimously. All right. I'd entertain a vote to sign a memorandum of understanding. No, that's a
Yeah, memorandum of agreement.
of agreement
Yeah.
with the GMEG regarding, and GMEG is the,
General Municipal Employees Group.
regarding the opting out of the health plan.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
This is the same agreement we've signed with just about all our other unions to give them an incentive not to take our health insurance.
Is this the end? We have
Actually,
the
we've
end?
got one more of ours that we'll do next week. It just got signed. I think the process of going to the GIC motivated the groups that hadn't signed it. I think they had employees who wanted to opt out, and therefore motivated them to sign the agreements.
Okay. Good.
Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Vote, I would entertain a motion to appoint Kathleen Foy to the Tourism Committee for a term of 2 years.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Knowlton?
Yeah, Mr. Knowlton.
I just, one of my interests in the past bit here has been how we're letting people know that positions are open on these committees. Can someone tell me how Kathleen was able to come to this? How was this advertised?
I can tell you this. She was attending the meetings, and she requested. That's how it happened. We had, when we first formed the committee, we advertised it for the initial 7 members. And I think I said a few months ago that we were ahead of schedule and we did need more people, so we advertised that again, and then she came forward. I don't think it was put out in a written statement anywhere. I think it was just advertised, announced.
Okay. Again, my general concern is committees just appointing their own replacements without people in the community having an opportunity to apply to those. You know, if you're fine with the way this happened, that's fine. If we'd rather put this off a week and let people have an opportunity, I'd be fine with that too, either way.
Are there any more openings on the Tourism Committee?
I think we're at 11 now. I think that's, yeah. I think also she did come forth for a specific task that the committee was getting to get a group together for. and that was advertised, so I don't know that that covers your concern. I'm welcome, you know, if you want to put it out there and hold this off, it's fine. She has been attending meetings.
Again, I want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity, that, you know, we're not shutting out anybody who might have a inclination to help out and serve.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr.
Let me
McKinnon?
ask a question. When you say you're advertising, where are you advertising it?
Initially, it was advertised on our website. It was announced when we did for the initial 7. And then I had announced at the Board of Selectmen meetings that we were forming the committee, and then I announced that we were looking for more. That was about 2 months ago because of the tasks coming in so quickly we couldn't keep up with them.
So it's only people who watch the 14 people out there that watch the Board of Selectmen meeting.
Oh, yeah.
More than 14. Every time you used to say something, I'd get phone calls.
From 14 people. So maybe we have to put something on the website, a volunteer position. I mean, maybe it doesn't have to do anything with this, but for the future, so that if there is a position open, at least people might look at the website more than they're going to watch us.
I do believe that Charlie put something on the website that...
There is now, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not specific to, it's just a general, we're looking for people.
Well, we mentioned I believe we mentioned the committees that you appoint in that.
Right, but my concern is that when these off-cycle appointments come up, you know, how do people know about it? So.
I think we want people that have actually been involved in the committees.
Oh,
appointed to
absolutely.
them as well.
Absolutely.
So if Ms. Foy has been attending meetings and been involved in the committee, I think she probably is a good choice.
She's done a lot of work, yeah.
This probably works out fine, but there may be people out there that would like to get involved. Maybe they couldn't get involved, maybe they didn't hear those few meetings where we were discussing this, and, you know, they just don't, maybe they, who knows what? Maybe they just need to see it on the website or something. And unfortunately, we don't have like, and there's no way to do it because it would be mind-bogglingly difficult for no staff to take care of it, but it's too bad we don't have like a Facebook page that we could put this stuff out there, because Facebook is a media that hits a lot of different people, but we don't have anybody that can really manage it. You need somebody to manage it, and you just can't let...
There's plenty of Facebook pages that purport to be for the town of Middleborough.
Yes, purport.
Mr. McKinnon, when our website comes out, we will have that, and we do have the intern from Bridgewater State who's going to be monitoring it.
Right.
So, but that's going to be in the next few months. We can definitely put something up there and have it on there at all times.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Lopes.
we do have a weekly newspaper
Still
that
only
has a
50
web. That
Still
has a
only 50
Facebook-
cents, right?
Still only 50 cents. That has a Facebook page, and we are delighted to advertise these vacancies whenever we're told about them. So if you want to just shoot us an email, then we'd be glad to publicize it in the paper and on our Facebook page.
All right. I think one thing should be absolutely clear before we really go any further with this, and that this discussion has absolutely nothing to do with the person mentioned in this appointment, nothing at all.
Oh, no. This is, we could have had this discussion after this vote on this. That's got nothing to do with this. This is, we have a lot of committees out there who, people just don't know how to get into it.
I still want to see a list, because I'm not even sure of all the committees that are active or inactive.
Well, that's true. But if you knew all that, then you'd want
That'd be
to
the great
raise or
odds.
something, and you're not going to go for that. But people just need to, sometimes they just need to be able to see it out there somewhere. And they may not look at our town webpage. They may not listen to, God love them, they may not listen to this on Monday night. Yeah, crush you. But they do get the Gazette, so that's probably a good avenue to follow. But we do have to make sure we channel it right. We don't want people running amok. We want some kind of controls, sending these messages over to the Gazette, I think.
Mr.
All right.
Chair,
Mr. North?
I just also wanted to remind that we do actually have a list of all the committees. That was one of my goals, and we're inviting all the committees in over the course of the year. So every single committee will have an opportunity to come before the board, come before the public, and let people know what they do so that people who are interested, will have more information.
Where's the list?
It's incorporated into our agendas, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
A list of all the committees?
Yes, and I can send you the list. I took a while
Is it on
creating
the
it.
website?
Is it on the website? I don't think it is.
We should put it on the website.
But I got the list off
Oh.
the town report.
All right.
That's a book that comes out every year.
Don't we
It's
put a
not
pretty
on the-
picture on it?
No. Green picture.
All right. So do you guys want to wait a week to appoint Kathleen Foy? Because I'm pretty sure if anybody
Yeah,
had
I
an
don't want
interest in the
to,
tourism committee, then,
again, I don't want to say anything against Kathleen, but
No,
I
I know
think
you-
moving,
said
moving
that-
forward, I think we should have this procedure in place. But I'm fine with appointing her tonight and just, letting everyone know this is what we want to do going forward.
all right.
We do have on the website, it's under Board of Selectmen seeks volunteers to fill committee posts, a listing of all your appointments. Now, I'm realizing we don't have the tourism committee on that, so that'll get changed tomorrow, and then that will be included.
All right, well, I'm still waiting to entertain a motion.
I thought we had a motion.
We have a motion
We have a
and a
motion
second.
and a second.
Yes, we do.
Beautiful. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimous. Beautiful. All right. I would entertain a motion to authorize the town manager to sign a contract with Mass DOT for pothole repair funds.
So moved.
Second.
As you can see, we're getting $131,000 from the state to do some emergency repairs, and you have a memo from Chris Pack where he's outlined which streets he's going to focus on, and he sees no problem having that money spent by the deadline in September.
Well, our contractors will be able to.
Yeah, some of that will be done
absorb
in-house, but yeah, the ones that we have to get contracts out, we'll be able to do that.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Knowlton?
to Charlie, where are we on the pavement management plan?
Should be done within the month.
Within the month?
Within the
Okay.
month.
Thank you.
Supposed to be done in April. Of course, it only snowed a couple times in April, so that would.
Mr. Chairman, is the list of streets that will be repaired somewhere that's easily accessible to the public, so they can check and see if their street is on there?
Good point.
It's on the agenda right here, right?
Suffice to say that you're going to see that the worst streets aren't on there, for obvious reasons. Because you could spend $100,000 on doing 40 feet of some of these streets.
Yeah, the bottom line is, we'll take the money, but it's not nearly enough
Right.
Right.
to even touch the beginning of it, but, all right. So do we want to post a list of these streets on the DPW webpage or anything?
Sure.
All right, I have a motion and a second, I believe.
Yes.
Any more comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I'd entertain a motion do we accept the indirect cost report, Charlie? or-
Yeah, you do. Let me just get it. In fact, on page 3, the recommendation, we're going to hold off on the schools because Mr. Giovanoni pointed out an error to me that we're going to have to correct. Actually, I probably can correct it right now. But if, we could have a motion to assess the water, wastewater, trash, school, and gas and electric departments for incurred indirect costs based on operating requirements for fiscal year 2015. You see that in the text of the recommendation. If we get a motion made by someone on that.
So moved.
Second.
And let me just quickly correct the, I'll read out the amounts, and let me just quickly correct the school department amount. Yeah, let's not, because I'll probably make a mistake on this. So let's just do the other funds, and we'll come back to the school next week.
Amend
So
the motion then to remove the school department?
yeah, from the list.
Okay. Make my motion to accept the water, wastewater, trash collection, and G&E.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Knowlton?
can we just clarify for those people listening, this indirect cost is the associated salary fringe benefits that are related to the level of service provided by these departments?
Very well said. You know, so it includes, you know, the administration, various, you know, departments in the town hall, but mostly it's employee benefits for the people in those departments, some insurance costs, some, you know, the audit, borrowing where it's appropriate. And since those items show up in other budgets, to then attribute that to the enterprise funds is what we do through the indirect cost report. The computer backup support.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right, a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. All right. I would entertain a motion to vote the rates for the water, wastewater, and trash.
Mr. Chairman, why don't I go through them one at a time? Water, when we adopted the capital financing strategy for water to upgrade the infrastructure, we agreed on a 4% increase to be able to afford the debt service for those projects, 4% a year. And that's what we've been doing since FY12, and I'm recommending that again for FY15. And the rates would go into effect on July 1 of this year. And for water, that would be an $8.54 annual increase for a single-family household, and a $24.44 increase for a family of four, based on our, projections. And as you know, we've got two projects on the warrant for the spring: the water treatment plant for the East Main Street well and the Mazares well site development. And that's one of many projects that we have coming up over the next 20 years that we need to finance.
Does anybody have any comments or questions? Anyone in the audience have any comments or questions on this? No? All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
So the next one is wastewater, and again, at about that same time, we...
Excuse me 1 second, Charlie. Jackie, I don't have a
We
motion.
didn't make a motion.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
So
You
moved.
should.
Second.
Did I just fill it out?
No.
We have a
Now we
mo-
have it.
Now we have a motion.
I'd make the
and a second.
motion. Mr. Knowlton seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I'm sorry, Charlie.
That's all right. And for wastewater, at that time, we were anticipating the major upgrade to the wastewater treatment plant that was going to be necessary to meet the next federal and state permits. So in order to avoid a huge increase when that debt service came due in the future, you agreed to a 30-year financing strategy that involved raising sewer rates by 15% a year. We're in the fourth year of that now, or this will be the fourth year of that. And for a, that would be effective July 1, 2014. It would represent a $68.89 annual increase for a family of 4. I didn't have projections at the time that I could make on an individual, so I don't have that. Again, we are looking toward, we are in the queue for a 2% financing from the state revolving fund. We are attempting to get a large proportion of that actually at 0% financing, and we're also looking at getting some of that project covered by a grant, an outright grant to us, which will further reduce the cost. And as we talked about earlier, we're currently in design, and we should have that done by the fall.
Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any comments or questions?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Knowlton?
to Charlie. So this is the 4th year of the increase of, how many years total will it be?
I think originally we were looking at 7.
Okay, so we're
Almost
past the halfway.
Past halfway, yeah.
Good.
And just for the newer members of the board, I think we had the 4th lowest sewer rate in the state when we started this. So because we had the advantage of having built the plant 30 years earlier and, paid off the financing, we were benefiting from very low rates. In addition, we subsidized a part of the rate by taking outside septage and leachate, and that further helps keep the rate low. So we were starting from a very low point when we embarked on this current round of upgrading the plant. And I believe I estimated at the time that when we got to the point where we no longer needed to increase the rate for this particular project, we were going to be at about the state average. So that's just a little more context for people. It's been several years now since we've had that discussion, so I like to remind people that while this we don't like increasing rates, we were starting from a very, 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 very low base.
Thank you.
And we may actually not increase it as much as we initially thought because of the 2%, the 0%, and the grant.
Yeah, until we know all the components of the financing, we don't know. So, I wouldn't want to make that promise, but, a lot depends on where the bids come in. We did get some bids in recently on the police station project, and the filed sub bids came in, several $100,000 under our projections. So hopefully that would, also be the case on the wastewater plant, and rather than looking at a $24 million construction cost, we're looking at something less.
I think when we first started talking about it, we were looking at 40 million as
Yep.
well.
You're right. The original number was 40 million, and then we revised that down to about 30 million. So the 30 million is what we've been carrying in all our assumptions, but hopefully it'll be less.
Yep. Beautiful. Thank you, Charlie. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I didn't get a motion and a second on that one either?
Yes, I made the
Yeah.
motion and Steve
I
seconded.
seconded it.
This is on the trash?
Yes.
No,
No, on the, no,
Sorry, I do have.
we're not on trash.
You shouldn't have a motion for the trash yet.
Must be contagious.
All right, we'll get through this.
Round of applause.
Actually, you may not even need a motion because, we're, again, for the 4th year in a row, we're not recommending any increase in the trash rate. We're
You
able to
should say
cover our
that
costs.
again, since we just increased 2 other rates.
All right, and maybe you should vote it, just because this way you can vote not to increase rates, but again, for the time being, why don't I use this as an opportunity just to give a brief summary of our meeting last Wednesday. We had a workshop on septic regulations, but also on the mechanical trash collection. And originally, we were going to go forward at this town meeting to buy the equipment to move forward on that project, but we're going to need a little bit more time. As I explained to the board, we want to do this project as much as possible within the current rates, and what we're realizing is that retrofitting our existing recycling vehicles is not going to work. That retrofit, that mechanical collection system is just way too slow, and we would end up not being able to collect our recycling every other week the way we do now. It would increase our our collection costs, and we would lose the savings we're counting on to pay for the new equipment for trash collection. So we're going to take a little bit more time, work on it a little harder, try and come up with a strategy that, again, lets us do this new collection system as close to our existing costs as possible, or costs of our existing rates as possible. I think, other than that, what we're learning and discovering is that this system is going to be very neat, clean, and efficient. People are, I think, going to like this system, but we want to, and we're going to have to just do a little bit more homework before we can actually bring it forward with you. So, or forward to you for a vote. So that that's just the context of the discussion with the trash rate staying the same, and we're trying to keep that trash rate as low as possible, even when we're significantly upgrading the service we're going to provide to the customer.
Mr. McKinnon?
Every department, although being level funded every year, has gone up every year because salaries go up according to steps. Mm-hmm. We have increases in insurance costs, there's increases in fuel costs. We haven't raised any of our rates and I don't advocate rushing out there and doubling prices or anything, but we are increasing incurring more costs. So as much as we can economize on the routes, the fact that we can pretty soon, 2016, we'll be taking all of our trash.
Yeah, that'll cut our fuel cost significantly.
Cut the fuel cost.
Yes.
But we're still incurring those extra costs. Nothing's gotten cheaper over the past 4 years.
Well,
we haven't raised these rates over the past.
Well, two things have, actually, and that's why we've been able to keep the rates the same. Insurance costs have gone down, particularly health care, and that's been part of the equation of being able to keep the rates the same. And actually, our disposal costs have gone down because every single year since 2006, the amount of tons that we take to CMATs has actually gone down. So those two things have worked to mitigate. You're right, wages go up, there's some other costs that have gone up in that period of time, maintenance, but it's been more than offset by the other things that have gone down. And that's, this is not smoke and mirrors. We've had, and most significantly, and I almost forgot that, was that the borrowing we did in 2007 to pay for the last round of vehicles, or was it 2000? Yeah, 2007, ended last year. So that was $100,000 that came off the expense line, and we haven't had to replace it yet, but we will have to replace it now coming up with the other new equipment.
$700,000 worth of new pieces of equipment that we're going to need.
Correct.
We were kind of proactive in stockpiling money ahead for the cost of the sewer treatment plant, although this is a much more minuscule cost than the sewer treatment plant. But if you're certain, I don't want to get in a situation where we have the opportunity of getting a better, faster, more convenient, cleaner, neater system, and we can't afford it because costs are still going up. And although the insurance cost has dropped a little bit, who knows what next year is going to bring? They could all go hoopy and everything could shoot 5, 6, 7% up. And if we can't talk Plymouth County Retirement into dropping their 8% demand, there's a lot of money going out.
Yeah, I don't think we're talking about a lot of difference here in terms of rates, and I'm very comfortable holding the rate this year, under any circumstance, because even if we were to go ahead this year and borrow money, we don't pay for it for a year. So rates don't have to go anywhere this year even if we were to start right away and borrow a lot of money and buy new equipment. So, that's why I'm very comfortable just leaving leaving it where it is. You know, if we do have to do something, doing it next year is plenty of time. Even if we go forward, say in the fall and decide to buy the equipment and buy the carts, we still don't have to do anything in FY15. But again, I would like to see if we can do this in such a way as to, do it within the existing appropriation. We are going to save on manpower in this new system, and there may be ways of getting 4 vehicles for less money than just going out and buying 4 brand new vehicles. So that's what we want to see. We just feel we should explore that option before we come to you with a recommendation. That's what we want to do. All
right.
All right. Anybody else have any comments or questions? I don't think we need to take any action on that. I would entertain a motion to appoint Brad Day as a volunteer observer to the Middleborough Lakeville Herring Fisheries Commission for a 1-year term ending September 30th, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
Question. Why is this a 1-year term ending in 5 months?
Mr. Kavanaugh has pointed out to me that there is something in the original vote establishing this to make the terms end this way. So I think we're, unless we modify their, the way they were created, I think we have to respect this.
I just want to understand. When
Yeah,
we talk
no,
about a 1-year term that ends in 5 months, and, I'm getting closer to the cusp, so I don't like cutting any time off here,
Yeah, it's just that their terms go to September.
Okay.
Is Mr. Day here? No? All right. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I hope Mr. Day can count really high, because the numbers on Friday were in the 700s. So they're still running. Get down there and take a look.
And this next item, Mr. Chairman, is not ready. There's still some work that needs to be done on that MOU.
All right. All right, right on time, 7:30. We'll open up a hearing for Topham Automotive at 85 East Grove Street. Is this a hearing? Do I need to open up a hearing for this?
No?
No?
It's just
Just a discussion? All right. Mr. and Mrs. Topham.
How are you?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Pretty good.
Could you
Good.
speak into the microphone, please? You might want to pull it down. Thank you.
We applied for, well, we're trying to go for the 15 card.
Before we get going,
Okay.
could you just introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm Kendra. This is Brian.
I'm Brian
Topham.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. We're applying for a 15 used car license originally, and it was brought to our attention that the boundary between us and our people behind us, which is actually, a residence, we weren't allowed to park the cars on that side, which would bring our car license down, obviously, because it changes the parking. But we'd like to try to get something, some form of an increase on these cars.
All right.
But what I had proposed was to park the cars on Cumberland Farm side, which we have a fence on either side of the back of our entrance, so we have residential, and then we have the business. So we didn't know that we weren't supposed to be parking cars on that side. We've been there for 8 years, we didn't know that. So we proposed to park them on the fence on Cumberland Farm side, because it's a business, not a residential. And I guess we didn't have enough room when they came back, when I sent the measurements out, because I measured it myself. So, and it said, and I don't know if I was reading it right, but it said 25 feet from the residential side. We do have, I think.
Did Mr. Whalen come back with the an opinion on this? I'm
He's-
trying to follow this. It's hard to follow on the,
I believe he still feels that it doesn't qualify, and I guess I would recommend to the Tophams that they sit down with Mr. Whalen and see if they can work this out with him, because, you know, he's the ultimate arbiter of,
he's the zoning
Right.
enforcement officer.
correct.
Okay.
So perhaps we could just take this under advisement and put it on for next week, and in the interim, if they could meet with Mr. Whalen and see.
That
if
sounds
he
good.
can- Great.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we will hear a emergency medical services report from the EMS committee.
Good evening. Gene Turney, Chairman of the EMS Committee. Other committee members here tonight, I have 4, maybe 5. Tom White, who's the Vice Chairman, Bob Silver, Ed Lee, and maybe the Chairman. I don't at present have a member. Report, I don't really, be honest with you, brief
Tell us a little
background,
bit
history.
about what you do and how you do it.
Well, basically, the EMS Committee was created or formed back in, I think, 1996 by a vote of town meeting. Consists of 7 members appointed by the town moderator for 3-year terms. And the charge of the committee was to assist in EMS matters. And basically, right now, we're in the last quarter of a 3-year contract with Brewster Ambulance, and the contract will be extended as of July 1 this year for another 3 years. The committee works with the fire chief and Brewster Ambulance. And its main function right now is the audits. The contract requires that, actually, the Office of Emergency Medical Services require that every run report is generated. Every transport, there's a very technical form that needs to be filled out. And Brewster is required to send that to an audit company that works for the town, represents the town. And each report is audited, and it's rated on a 1 to 4 scale, 1 and 2 being minor deviations, and 3 and 4 more major deviations, and those are sent to an emergency room doctor, and he reviews them, and if they remain 3s and 4s, then they're discussed with Brewster, and Brewster has to file with the committee and the fire chief a course of action that they had taken on those. Basically, that's what the committee does. Be happy to answer any questions.
Any members of the board have any questions?
Chair,
Mr. McKinnon?
how is Brewster doing?
Big pardon, sir?
How is Brewster doing?
Like anything else, Brewster is up and down. They have their good months and their bad months, but on a whole, they're holding their own. Speaking personally, not for the committee, I do have some concerns that they're just growing very fast. And of course, the goal of the EMS committee is to make sure that Middleborough gets the best possible, Middleborough patients get the best possible care. And just for example, when they started, Middleborough was their 2nd location with 9 ambulances. Now I believe they're in 10 locations with, as of May of last year, with 35 ambulances. So they're really growing. So the committee kind of keeps a close watch on them to make sure we're getting the best of the best.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Knowlton?
Gene, your committee meets quarterly, 4 times a year?
Yeah, they're mandated by town meeting to meet quarterly, and we meet quarterly with Brewster, and we meet other times if necessary.
Right. And so basically, these meetings, when they happen, you're going over their performance.
That's correct.
And if their performance dips below certain levels, they can be fined, so it's in their best interest
Right.
to work as hard as they can to keep the town and keep your committee happy that
Right.
you're moving forward in the right direction.
We have I think, a very good contract with them that basically covers everything that needs to be covered. In fact, excuse me, in the contract, we also audit the paramedics and EMTs that are assigned to the town, and they're also audited. And if they don't perform to a certain standard, then the fire chief has the right to just tell them, they want them removed and replaced by somebody else. So it's...
You guys are the gatekeeper, so that when we're calling 911, we're making sure that a person is showing up in the ambulance for us and is going to be able to take care of us.
Basically, yes. So,
Is your committee fully stocked right now? You have everybody?
we have a full complement, yes. We have 7 members.
Great. And are your meetings open to the public if anybody's so interested?
They're posted public meetings, correct.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
I think you're selling yourself a little short, Mr. Attorney. You guys, your committee crafted the contract that is now a very good contract and keeping a close watch on these people.
Well, we've had the opportunity, of course, this was established a long time before my arrival, but, you know, when there's a problem, we try to make sure it's covered in the next contract.
Yep, I think you guys do a great job.
Well, thank you.
So, anyone else have any questions? Anyone from the audience have any questions?
Anybody else want to say anything from the committee?
So just to go over, so every transport in the town of Middleborough generates a report that is then reviewed, and if there's an infraction of a 3 or a 4, it's then double-checked through your committee and through an emergency room doctor, and a plan is made to remedy whatever that infraction may be.
Correct.
So each and every run generates that process.
Every single run, correct.
All right.
And I might add also, you know, I don't know if people are aware, last year, year 2013, there were 2,937 transports, I believe, which averaged about 8.5 a day. So we are a busy, busy town.
And we're a pretty big town, too.
Right, correct.
So.
No comment.
But, yeah, just thank you very much, because like I said, I serve on the committee. I missed, I think, the last 2 meetings, and I apologize for that. But I've always been impressed with the work you guys do, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, main attraction, school department budget presentation.
Main attraction. All right, good evening.
Oh, I've been dying to do this for months now. How do I do? Screen down. I really feel like Dr. No. I do.
Do we need to get you a cat so you can...
Yeah. That's supposed to be, no. It's on there a little bit.
Here we go.
Here we go. Do we need to dim the
You
lights?
might have to dim the lights.
Yeah, I think we do.
Oh, that's not so bad. How about that? Wait,
Can
is
you,
that okay?
can you see that well enough?
Yeah, I think it's pretty bright.
Okay, good evening, and thank you for having us. We began to make presentations last year, and I think it was well received. An opportunity for us to share with you our thoughts behind it, so I'd like to introduce Kathy Piatelli, our business manager.
Thank you, Dr. Weiss.
This will help.
Everything I said.
No, I just can't hear you. So this will back it.
Can you hear now?
Thank you for the invitation for us to share our 2015 educational budget plan. My name is Kathy Piatelli. I'm the business manager for the school department, and Dr. Weiss and I will present the 2015 school budget. At the end of the slideshow, we would be happy to answer any questions. The presentation will address the structure of the school budget, Middleborough's education plan, and the sources of funding for the FY14 budget. As always, it's important to reflect on our mission statement during the budget season to remind us of our responsibilities to the students. So I would like to begin by going over the Department of Elementary and Secondary's chart of accounts. This is the structure we have to follow, and every school district in the state has to follow when we're building our budget. The 1,000 account covers the administration, including the school committee, legal services. I'm not going to read every line. The 2,000 account covers everything in the classroom, books, teachers, everything that affects the child within the classroom. $3,000 account covers still the students, health care, nurses, student activities, athletics, and security. Still a little outside the classroom. $4,000 account is maintenance, custodial, buildings, grounds, including utilities. $5,000 account covers employee benefits. This year, the DESE has required all school districts to report sick leave buybacks within the $5,000 account. In the past, we've always included these within the salary line, which would be in the $2,000, but it skews the numbers when the state averages the teacher salaries. So they've asked us to report it in the $5,000. We have always budgeted for it within our budget. All of our collective bargaining agreements have a cap on the amount, and they all have sunset clauses, meaning anyone hired after 2009 is no longer eligible to receive the benefit. $7,000 we use to replace minibuses for our special ed and also any kind of equipment replacement. $9,000 account is used for students who attend the Norfolk or the Bristol Aggie schools, as well as out-of-district special education tuition. I just want to say Bristol Plymouth students who attend Bristol Plymouth, that tuition is paid directly through the town. And now Dr. Weiss will begin with the education plan.
What's up now is our strategic plan with our goals for 2011 through 2016, which I will refer to as I go along with our presentation. The purpose of the presentation this evening is to share the story of our progress over the past 2 school years. We are also sharing what we need to continue our progress. In the spirit of transparency and open conversation, it is important for the citizens and for the governing body of the town of Middleborough to hear this information. It is my responsibility as superintendent of schools to give you information, and then it is up to the citizens of the town to decide what each agency will have in financial support each year. Before I share the budget narrative, I would like to summarize the goals and progress of our school district from the 2012-2013 to the 2013-2014 school year, and to share the vision of a 3- to 5-year plan for the Middleborough Public Schools. That plan calls for written curriculum aligned to the Common Core, which is what the DESE is requesting that we do, the implementation of the new educator evaluation tool, which is mandated, the development of the district-determined measures, which is our accessibility and also our assessment, professional development, and the management of data showing where our students are challenged and/or performing well in order to improve student academic growth, which is what we are charged with. As you view the strategic plan, I will reference the goals as I share the past, present, and future goals. There are 5 goals that guide our planning and implementation. The 5 goals clearly outline the needs for a successful public school district. They include goal number 1, which you can see deals with partnership development and the involvement of the community. Goal number 2, the facilities. Goal number 3, the teaching and learning part. Goal number 4, the professional development, to make sure our teachers have what they need to instruct our students. And goal number 5 is data management, which has become a keystone to the state's plan for progress. During the academic year 2012-2013, we began the process of developing a new administrative team. We shared this with you last year. assessing the curriculum and determining strategies to guide the district in meeting the requirements of the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, reviewing the strategic plan, and implementing professional learning communities at each school building. The next slide identifies the budget drivers that determine many of our decisions. As you can see, our budget drivers include the preparation of all of our students, each and every student who comes to our schools, the requirements that are given to us from the DESE, which have grown over the years, special education tuition and services, which is not necessarily able to be planned for, contractual increases, and the requested essential personnel. Those are our budget drivers. During the 2012-2013 school year, the newly configured administrative team discussed the need for more professional development, which goes along with our strategic goal number 4, in order to provide staff members with training they were not able to access during the years of budget tightening. This professional development directly impacts the preparation of students shown in the slide of budget drivers and DESE requirements. We identified Teachers 21 as the consulting service to provide a 12-week course of training for the 2013-2014 school year. During the 2013-2014 school year, classroom teachers participated in a 12-week course entitled The Effective Teacher, Leading and Learning. This course focused on best practices in teaching, as well as training for the new educator evaluation tool. This course also prepares the district to begin to formally gather and analyze data from student assessments, leading to plans for instructional practice. This gathering of data connects to strategic goal number 5 and correlates to DESE requirements. Our major goal for the next year, 2014-2015, is to analyze data in order to promote continued student achievement. We, as a level 3 school district, need to show student growth. Scores, while being important, are not as connected to student achievement as is student growth each year. The DESE will require each school district to accomplish a number of initiatives. Taking a look at this one, we see district-determined measures. District-determined measures are our ability to assess our students and to share with the DESE what those assessments will be as a unification of our district. RETEL, which is the Rethinking of Equity and Teaching for English Language Learners, and PARC, which is the Partnership for Assessment that the students piloted and field tested this year. The current themes for this year, this past year, and the upcoming school year include the need to identify DDMs, or district-determined measures, to train staff and redesign curriculum to meet the requirements of RETEL, and to absorb the field testing of PARC, to develop bullying prevention and intervention, to align to the Common Core curriculum, developing common assessments, and to regroup around a new educator evaluation tool. As you can see here, every year we are required to present our teachers, students, and parents with bullying prevention and intervention. The initiative to align our curriculum to the Common Core is ongoing and will hopefully be completed within the next year and a half. And common assessments. We need to have a curriculum so that we can identify the assessments that will be common to each grade level, and the evaluation tool, which is new to every school district this year. The engine behind much of the initiatives is to make a major cultural shift from what has been the traditional way to do things to the new way to do things. And that way we will begin to achieve and we will begin to show student growth, which is necessary to become a level 2 district. More and continued professional development is necessary and required for training and analyzing data, which is key to 21st century teaching and learning, leading to the improvement of student achievement. There is emphasis placed upon professional learning communities, and as we take a look at the DESE requirements, we next need to see how we meet these requirements. How do we go about doing this? First of all, professional development. The needs for the above have retooled what we used to consider education ideals Right now, as you can see, in the 2013-2014 school year, all teachers in our district were required to participate in a 12-week training session facilitated by Teachers 21. The purpose for this was to give each teacher the ability to go forward. We had teachers in many different places, and due to some of the tightening of budgets in years past, we felt that it was important to unify our staff. 2014-2015, we have provided 12 early release days for Focus PD. 4 will be district, 4 will be building, and 4 are teacher directed. And that will be directly in response to Teachers 21, what they've provided us during this year and what we hope to be able to accomplish next year. PLC training, which is professional learning communities, that time is scheduled in each building for staff to share best practices regarding student achievement. We have professional learning communities in order to share and to work together to provide the best opportunity. As you can see here, these teachers are obviously enjoying Teachers 21. You can tell that by their smiles. But we have honestly provided several cohorts of this course. I was there today for our final cohort. And our principals have seen that teachers are using these strategies, and students are beginning to, I think, grow through this. So the requested essential personnel for 2015 goes along with what we feel is necessary to continue our progress. The needs for the above have retooled what we used to consider educational positions necessary. Consider, for example, the data gathering. We never before really needed to have a data analyst. We do today in order to meet the needs of the DESE and also to make sure that we are able to provide for our students. The complexities of the lack of staff at an administration level is concerning and is evident as we work to increase student achievement. Many times people will suggest that we do not need more administrators. However, what we've tried to do in the last 2 years is to help guide our teachers, and in order to do that, you need to have people who understand the larger picture and can hold people accountable and support them as well. So the following positions are requested. Looking at the first one, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum. The Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum is the person who will oversee the primary goal of improving student performance, combined with the increased needs and requirements of DESE. The addition of this position corresponds directly to Strategic Plan Goals number 3, Teaching, Learning, and Assessment, Goal number 4 in the Strategic Plan, Professional Development, and Goal number 5, Data Management, and indirectly to Goals number 1, Partnership with the Community, and Goal number 2, Physical Facilities. As the 3 to 5 year plan progresses, the number and depth of initiatives grows. Prior to my superintendency in Middleborough, the position of Assistant Superintendent existed and was eliminated just before my arrival due to budgetary issues. I was asked my first year if I needed this position, and my response during the past 2 years has been to assess the situation and develop a position description meeting the new needs of the district and going along with the 3 to 5 year plan we have created. As my second year comes to a close, the need for this position is evident. The position would be retooled from what it was to what it would be given our goals and 3 to 5 year plan. The person in this position would be overseeing the curriculum coordinators and would pull together the coordinators, high school department chairs, and middle school team leaders, along with the vice principals of the middle school, would have the responsibility for humanities and STEM. Curriculum, professional development, all require an oversight and focus, and the position of Assistant Superintendent is the primary administrative position to be that supervisor. The person in this position would assist with supervision and evaluation using the new tool, which requires far more complex initiatives than before. We are beginning to identify the assessment features for the DESE, and the coordination of the requirements is time-consuming and complex. A focus on data-driven assessments, coordination of assessment tools, and the analysis of the data is a requirement that will continue and deepen. As the superintendency is extended for political intervention for budget, facilities, and legal areas, having a position which can serve as head of the district in the absence of the superintendent becomes more necessary as we go forward with potential building projects, legal needs, and DESE initiatives. Going down to the data specialists, the 2014-2015 year focuses on collecting and analyzing data and correlates to strategic goal number 5, data management. This position is the key to the DESE initiated work to input data and begin the process of analyzation. Data drives instruction. That is the key to sound teaching. The collection of data, the analysis of this data, and the reporting of this information to principals, administrators, and the DESE will enhance the ability of teachers to provide appropriate instruction to students based upon assessment results. The position fits the goals and the strategic plan goal number 5 and 3, teaching and learning, and assessment and data management. Information from this position will support teacher professional development, DESE requirements, and student preparation while supporting the use of PARCC or MCAS results. The next position we are recommending is the classroom technology facilitator. This person will facilitate the use of technology in classroom instruction using laptops, projectors, and tablets, which is necessary and essential for students to learn in the 21st century. As we go toward bringing your own devices and trying to align the curriculum to the use of these devices, we need somebody who can go into the classroom and work with teachers and students to make sure all are working in coordination. The next position that we would be requesting is the assistant principal of the Nichols Middle School. Prior to my superintendency, the middle school had 2 assistant principals. Parallel to my decision regarding having an assistant superintendent, Mr. Gagan wanted to understand the needs of the middle school before making the decision to go with 1 or 2 assistant principals. There is a need for the present assistant principal to go to court on a far more frequent basis than previously required, leaving no support in the 800 student building. Presently, the high school has 2 assistant principals, with 1 frequenting court, while the second is a support to the principal, among many other duties. In addition, there is a need to have another evaluator in place since the middle school team leaders do not assist in evaluation as the assistant principals do at the high school, as well as the department chairs. Finally, the position will be filled with a person who has STEM background, which is science, technology, and engineering and mathematics background to counter the present assistant principal's strength in humanities and forward our curriculum development. The next position we are recommending is the in-district support and licensed social worker. As we continue to have as our goal the retention of our students within the Middleborough Public Schools, it is essential to create a position which can assist students who are experiencing challenges in their lives. Keeping students in district is best for most personally and is a financially responsible action. And finally, the kindergarten education support personnel, or ESPs. We are recommending 2.5 positions in keeping with our goal to have each kindergarten class staffed by 1 full-time teacher and 1 full-time ESP. I am requesting 2 more part-time ESPs. Presently, we have 9 full-time ESP positions staffed by several 0.5 people. The addition of 2.5 positions would bring us to 10 full-time ESPs. We are aiming for 13 full-time ESPs in the future, as that is the number of full-time kindergarten classes we have. In summary, as we take a look at our 3-year plan and the district goals in this pie chart, the vision for the next several years includes several alterations in organization. The positions requested, the structure of administrative leadership, and staff configuration are designed to enhance our educational mission over the course of 3 to 5 years. We are going into year 3. We are motivated, we are excited, and we are propelled by the needs of our students who are our clients. Taking a look at our clients, here they are. These are our preschool students and our kindergarten students who require play as well as academic learning in the classroom. These are what our children need. We want to support them. We want to keep them going. Our next slide shows our elementary students as they are using their technology devices. They are engaged. They are 21st century children and students. Most adults are 20th century students who did not have devices when they went to school. These are the needs of children today, not yesterday. We show another slide of an elementary student engaged in his device, but the devices are tools to encourage learning. Taking a look at our middle school, we go forward and our students are engaged in the use of our technology support in order to do their research work and to learn. Our math program is also dependent upon our use of technology in many ways. We have a picture here of our student in art. Art and music and physical education are also tremendously important to the whole child. Our high school gallery of art. This is beautiful art created by our students who have come through Middleborough Public Schools, many of them since kindergarten. Their work is exceptional. We have talented students and we need to continue to support them. High school is also a place where the use of technology devices assists in the learning that they are required to accomplish. We have high school classrooms where you can see our students using these devices to support their learning. I now turn the presentation back to Kathy Piatelli.
Thank you, Dr. Rice. This slide shows the timeline of our budget development. We started back in the fall, with the administrators putting in their requests. We met with the budget subcommittee many nights. Some nights were snowed out. We had to reschedule. March and April, we did more meetings and also met with the town manager and the forecast with all the department heads. And then in April, we made our presentation to the school committee, and we're here. And this year, our town meeting is in May. Last year at this time, we were all done. We're not. So now I will cover the sources of funding that provide for the school budget. The town allocation is made up of Chapter 70 state aid as well as local revenues. We also depend very heavily on grants, circuit breaker reimbursement, revolving accounts, and tuitions. Chapter 70 state aid over the last 4 years has decreased to the town of Middleborough. So we generally get, this year we're slated to receive $17,459,000, and that's only $82,000 more than last year. So that is a huge decrease and puts a very tough burden on the local revenues. This is, Chapter 70 is made up of the formula with student enrollment, property value, income earning in the community in which you live. So a lot of the communities only got $25 per student, which is what we received for the $82,000. We received more than $1 million in grants, and we're able to fund 22.1 full-time equivalent positions. The positions are varied. They're teachers, they're ESPs, nurses, and administrators. And we're able to have a few people at each school that are covered by grants. Most of them are special education, but there are some kindergarten grants and regular education as well. Again, that's 1.1 million and 22.1 full-time equivalent positions. Circuit breaker reimbursement is something that started about 10 years ago. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education reimburses schools for high-cost special ed placements. If we are not able to provide services for students in our district and they need to go outside to a special school, the cost of that, anything over this year, $40,000, the state will reimburse us 75% over the $40,000. Over the last 4 years, as you can see, first 3 there we were up in the 600,000s. Next year we will be using the 14 money, which drops drastically. But the good thing was the year before our tuition that we had to pay out was less, which is why our reimbursement is less. Unfortunately, our tuitions are on the rise next year, so with the $450,000 reimbursement that we're going to use next year, we have to offset that $1.6 million. And here they are side by side, 3 years at a glance. What we've been doing over the past few years is holding back a year on our circuit breaker reimbursement so it will give us an idea of what's coming. You're only allowed to hold it for 1 year. You either use it the year you receive it, hold it for 1 year, and then if it's not used, it goes back to the general fund. So this is where we're at. We're also using revolving accounts. We collect tuition for preschool. We're able to offset some ESPs in those classrooms. We do have 6 students right now enrolled through school choice, and we receive money from the state, $5,000 a student that we're able to put in a revolving fund and use. And then we use our facility rental account to offset the cost of the new custodian we hired last year, as well as the clerical work that is used to the person who rents all of the buildings and sends out all the invoices. That's been a big help for us. This is our per pupil expenditures from 2012. So when we build our budget according to the Department of Ed Chart of Accounts, and then we do our end of the year report by the same model, they take everyone's numbers across the state and they print out all these beautiful charts. The schools with the asterisks on the bottoms are the ones that the DESE considers to be similar to Middleborough, whether by size or demographics of the community. And then we also put in Carver and Bridgewater Raynham because they're our neighbors. So Middleborough is the yellow column, 3rd from the left. And if you look at the state average, it's 2nd from the right. And these are the numbers that I got off the DOE website. You can go on there and get anything. So this is an overview of our 2015 budget. As you can see, we are very labor intensive. 77% of our budget is for salaries, and that's across the districts. That's teachers, custodians, administrators, secretaries, everyone. So what we're requesting for our budget increase for 2015 is 6.25 on our operating budget and 3.08 for our transportation. And here it is, the same, for a $31 million budget, which is a 6.25% increase over 2014. Transportation is a 3.08 for $80,000 for salaries and some expenses for the minibuses, and also the home-to-school transportation, our contract with First Student. And here it is in homeless and crossing guards. Our requested increase is broken out by salary increases for $900,000, special education tuition and services. As I showed you the chart before, our tuition is on the rise for next year. The requested personnel, transportation. We also have some savings due to retirements that we're able to offset a little bit, and also we adjusted some lines for PD and Aggie tuitions. This is just a little glimpse, you might have seen it in the paper last week, of how our dollar is allocated. Most of it goes right into the classroom for the instructional services. And here's the same information, just a different view. Again, salaries are our biggest expense. And that's it. Dr.
Everyone's
Weiss.
effectiveness depends, at least in part, on what they expect of themselves and not of others. That's something Todd Whitaker told us. He was the speaker that we had our first year to motivate us all. Together we create a better tomorrow. We are all in this together. The growth of this town is in part a product of the strength of the public school, attracting people to Middleborough who are invested in their children's success and education, are committed to a positive growth of this community, and are eager to contribute to the town are inherent in this success. We thank you for your consideration. We are looking to promote the educational excellence of the students of this town. There have been many years where we have not been able to do so. We are in our third year of our new administrative team. We want to continue to propel forward. We do not want to continue to be a level 3 school district. And we thank you very much for the opportunity to share with you. And we hope that our presentation isn't just saying this is what we want, but what we need. And we hope that we've been able to share with you the different aspects of what goes into creating the school budget and why we need what we need. So thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Brian Giovanni. I'm a member of the school committee. I'm also joined by Maureen Franco, who's also a member of the school committee. And on April 17th, the school committee voted 3-1 to support this budget, for this budget that was presented here this evening. The school committee supports Dr. Weiss and this vision on how we can move as a community, move the school system forward. 2 years ago, Dr. Weiss came here and brought Middleborough the mantra that is shown on this slide here, that together we create a better tomorrow. And over the last 2 years, we've seen our faculty, staff, and members of this community working together, creating that better tomorrow. The school committee is as excited as the community, as we move forward as a school system, which is to say, when we keep saying move forward the school system, to increase growth and student achievement both in the classroom and as people outside of the classroom. So we thank you and the community for their continued support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just real quick, DESE stands for the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education?
That's correct.
All right. Does any member of the board have any questions or comments? Mr. McKinnon?
Would you be able to send that slide presentation to us? There's a lot of information in there. There's a lot of information that
Sure.
Yes.
I would like to write to different people about.
No problem.
I think we're getting
Left behind?
Yes, we'll be able to do that.
well, there were a lot of things went through my head. Most of them, where it's a family program. So, yeah, left behind is a good way to put it. Screwed is a better way to put it. But, yeah, to the wall. $25 per student from the state. And we still don't know where the governor put the $100 million that he tucked away last year. But it's just picky. So anyway. But I like to have information so that I can formulate my writing. And I don't know if you can put this on your website.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.
Because if there's people out there that are concerned that the state is doing the state thing, which is let's pour the burden back down onto the towns, tell them we're going to fund their initiatives, the initiatives that the state gives, and then they say, oh, by the way, we're not going to fund it this year. I think you all have to understand that. And you all out there, the 18 that are listening tonight, can maybe make a difference by writing letters to your representatives, and I know the representatives all know this, but the more letters that they get, the more incentive maybe to move forward. And I would bombard the governor's office with these requests too for payment. So, but we need the information to be able to make a case.
No problem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Knowlton.
First off, I want to thank you for including the student pictures in the report. I think it's always important to remember that this budget is there for the children. It's there to educate them, to do the best we can for them. I've just got a couple of questions. Why the big jump in the tuition?
We had some additional students move in this year, actually. We budgeted for 21 students. We have 27 now. So we had to pretty much freeze our budget, and those students will all be with us next year. So we have no...
You can't predict from year
Right.
to year, and so we have to go with what happens in terms of students who move in, our responsibility to educate them, and it's not something we are able to carry in the operating budget and know what it's going to be. So that is why the tuition is much greater and has jumped.
I want to echo what Selectman McKinnon said, the idea of unfunded mandates being handed down by the state and then being put upon our shoulders to fund, especially with this evaluation tool. It seems like half of the new positions you're asking for are to help out with the evaluation tool, and that seems like quite a burden. You're going to have to put me on the side of, I want to see money go for direct instruction and not toward administration. So, and I know you addressed that in your report, but I want to see as much of the funding that we can give to go to direct student instruction. I think that's where we get the most bang for our buck. It's not collecting data. It's not for doing these other activities.
Well, I just want to say that part of the issue that we have in our classrooms is the lack of data to then do the instruction. So what we're saying here in general is that if a teacher gathers the information from the assessments that we create that we don't have quite yet, you can then make a better plan for your educational implementation. So you don't want to have 50 bodies in a classroom. Yes, we need them to teach the children, but we also need to help every teacher to understand how to do things differently and in a different way. And you can't just do that by having lots of people doing lots of things in different directions, which was part of the issue that we have had. We have wonderful teachers in this district, but if we don't have a way to guide to some continuity, then every time you go from one building to the next, you go from kindergarten to grade 1, you go from grade 5 to grade 6, grade 8 to grade 9, you have no continuity, and that is essential to creating a better education for students. We're talking more now among ourselves. We are guiding in one voice, not 15 voices. We have a new math program. We need to go from kindergarten to grade 1, from 5 to 6. And when the students go through this math program, grade 9 teachers will have to receive them differently. So all of that is coordinated. What you're saying about the education evaluation tool is in part correct. We need far more people to do the observations. I have to say that while I agree with you wholeheartedly, I also know what we're all trying to do, and that is we're trying to help teachers become better. And we're trying to bring them into the process. And so for the first couple of years, it is very labor intensive. You are correct in saying that things come down from the state, and we get no more personnel to help us do it. So I appreciate your comments.
Mr. Chair, hi. Just a couple quick, easy questions first. The homeless transportation, are we getting reimbursement from the state anymore for that?
Yes, they actually will be. We have to do an end-of-the-year report, file it by end of the year, October, and then it has to be audited by March 31st. So but all those audits are being sent to DOE. Once they verify everyone's homeless, they'll divide it up by. So
Okay.
we had about $75,000 last year that we paid out, which was much less than the year before. Hopefully, they'll still be at 100%. We don't know yet.
Right, let's hope.
But we will be getting it.
We can hope. We can hope they'll change the formula, too, for
Right.
Chapter 70.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes, it would be. The personnel increases, they're pretty much level funded except for contractual obligations?
Some of the new positions?
Yeah.
Yes, some of them can be funded by attrition and by reorganizing what we're doing. Depends on how
Right.
we go forward.
Right. If for some miracle we come up with all these increases and it's no problem, and, it would be ideal, in an ideal world. Do you have plans for sustaining that? Because these positions are not going to go away. That expense is going to be on next year and the year after. And you've been really good about going after grants and different funding. That's why I'm asking if you have anything.
And I think we still would be. We're always on the lookout for how we can fund the personnel that we need. Education is certainly very personnel intense, and one of the I guess things that I've been trying to look at for the 3 to 5 years is that the administrative organization will need to be flexible, because each year we go forward, we need to do something different the next year to meet the, I'm not saying we go, oh, I'm so surprised. I know where I want to go. And the creation of different positions is to take us from the next year on. So, for example, the teachers who took Teachers 21 this year, now for next year we have to use what they've learned to go forward. And in order to do that, we needed the increase in half days, but we may not need it the following year because we'll be in a different place. So for the 3 to 5 years that we are in our initiative work and in our initial work to get to year 5, where I hope we can show major progress, we want to have some flexibility in how that is organized. And I did not want to begin to say in year 1, oh, I need this and this, because I honestly didn't know based on what I would find. And so every year I know what step we need to take to go to the next year. And I'm hoping we can continue to do that. It may look a little different, and the costs may not rise as dramatically. We may, have a better Chapter 70 year. It really will depend. I think the main thing is this is my responsibility to share with you what I believe we need. Of course, I have much support from our budget subcommittee and our school committee and all the people who work with me, administrators and teachers. But definitely, I would be remiss if I did not share with you what was needed.
Okay, and finally, we'd all like to see this happen. I don't think there's anyone in this room that doesn't want everything to move forward according to plan and on the right track. Do you have a plan B? Have you thought of things that you could move around, or?
Well, there's always a plan B, because you have to, and our goal is to remain motivated to do the very best we can. The plan I presented you is Plan A because it will, in fact, move us forward. Plan B means that people just have to figure out how to do the same kinds of things, the initiatives that the DESE requires, in a different fashion. And it may, in fact, pull more people from the classroom focused because they're focused on something else. So many of our administrators do multiple jobs and multiple duties, just as our teachers do, because we are deficient in the number of personnel, even though I know it doesn't look that way. When you compare what we have to other districts with similar student populations, we are low in terms of the number of administrations. We are probably better than we were a couple of years ago in terms of the number of teachers, but we don't have the technology people we need to keep up with it. We don't have the things that we need. Will we go forward? Absolutely. We are committed, no matter what, to providing the very best we can, and we will.
I know, we appreciate that. We do. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Chairman, I have a couple questions. one of the positions you mentioned was a classroom technology facilitator. Don't we already have a tech person in the school system?
We have several tech people who take care of the actual system, who work with the device itself. This person will be more involved with actual classroom work. How do we help teachers connect with the devices and students connect with the devices? It's the use of it more than the, let me put the screwdriver in the, the screw. Some of our earlier technicians were to keep the actual devices going. This is more of a, how do we use these better? And we have begun last year to have technology coaches who we pay a stipend from the classroom, and people have begun to give courses after school so that we can help our teachers become better enabled and better able to use technology in the best interests of their students. Next year, not only will we have the half days for PD, but we're also going to develop a very extensive after-school no-cost options for our teachers. We will be giving people professional development points, and that's something we haven't had. We are remiss in terms of what the state requires, because we are authorized and responsible for providing no-cost options, which we have not provided well. So we need to increase that. This particular position will help in that effort, as well as concentrating on the classroom.
And with a data specialist, it seems like maybe a silly question, but who decides what's done with the data after it's collected, and what are the specific goals of the data that will be collected, and then how soon do you think we'll see that data put to some use?
Well, the data is collected from the assessments and from different types of assessments that we give to students every year. And now we're required, and will be by June 1st, required to tell the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education what assessments we are going to use across each grade level for every single course that we offer, from art to music to phys ed to all of the core courses as well. And that information will be put into a computer software program which will generate back to the data specialist the information that will then be analyzed at a certain degree, go back to the leadership team, which will then go into the classroom. Teachers work in teams to say, okay, I have 60% of my students are doing well here, but 40% didn't get it. So how do I now prepare my lessons? It's no longer teachers who used to teach and have 20 years of the same plans. You've got to be able to modify and change what you're doing dependent upon how your students are doing. So the data specialist is in part for that. Also, the Commonwealth is requiring us to send more and more information to them about how our students are doing and how each classroom teacher is doing. And we don't have the personnel presently to do that. And even if we have a data specialist, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So we are trying to keep up with what is required of us, and what will then best help our teachers to translate that information to actual plans and differentiated instruction, which is, if I've got 40% who did well and 60% who didn't, how do I change my lessons so that I can coordinate all of those needs? Provide one teacher and some support that we can provide. And this is no longer just, wow, what a new idea. This is something that is going to continue to be required and become more and more of an involvement than it ever has been.
And then you mentioned some of the administration, like the assistant principal, they spend a lot of their time in court.
Yes.
What types of court cases are they there for? Is it for special ed, other things? And
both. If we have students who are charged with something, then our assistant principal, there is an assistant principal who has training and is assigned to this duty. What happens is you go to court for 9 o'clock, you don't get heard until 11 or 12. Your day is spent there. So the principal of the middle school has 800 students approximately, and he would be the only one in place while the assistant principal is at court. It's just increasing beyond what we used to have. In addition, we now need the assistant principal to do some of the curriculum work that we didn't need before, because we in Middleborough, we weren't that advanced in terms of the curriculum development we were providing. And now we're putting everything in writing, and it's aligned, and we have to be accountable. So we need the personnel, and we had the 2 position, but we don't have it, and we need to have it back to manage what I've explained.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Belkin, do you or any member of your committee have any questions? No one on the Finance Committee has a question? Feel free to come up and ask.
Finance Committee. Question I have is, I was a little disappointed with the school committee on the vote, how it came about. The reason being, with that amount of money, I was kind of stunned that the vote came out as it is. My personal opinion, I think if it was 5, 10, 12 minutes, they would have agreed to it. And I've got kids in the system, elementary kids, and I really love the school, but the salaries are getting out of control. And it's hard for me to say this, but, you know, I'm having a hard time making ends meet. A lot of people having a hard time making ends meet. Now, if you go around town, there's potholes, people have tarps on their roofs, and we're asking for another $1.7 million. So it's very difficult. I know some towns have gone 0, 0, 0, and we keep giving raises and raises and raises. I mean, it's tough being a teacher, don't get me wrong. I don't know if I could do it. And some of the kids they have to deal with, it's very difficult. But the raises, I think if you cut back on the raises, and I think we could come up with some of the money you're looking for, but I think it's got to be a little give and take, and that's my personal opinion, and it's other constituents that I deal with opinion too, so thank you.
We do have, we just finished our 6 collective bargaining agreements, and the support groups, the ESPs and the custodians and the secretaries all got 222, and they also agreed to go 70-30 on the health insurance with all of their new people. The teachers got a 3-year agreement, and on day 1 of this year they got 0.5%. And on day 184, they'll get another 0.5%, and they won't see that money. It will be compounded. And then day 1 next year, they'll get 1%. And then on day 184, they'll get another 1%. And again, they won't see that money in their check. They'll see it the following September, and they'll get a 2%. So over 3 years, it's 5%, and it was a pretty good deal. You know, considering we got a lot back from their managing their schedule during the collective bargaining. It was a lot of give and take.
And I think supporting the health care plan for the town helps the town in its new adventure with the GIC, government insurance, and I think that was a coup that we got, and something that we felt was important to give back to the town. I also want to remind people that when we do have extra funding at the end of the year, we do give back quite a nice sum, and that's because we consider ourselves one department within the town, not the only department. And I think that over the last number of years, we have shown that very clearly, that we want to work with the town because we are part of the town. We educate the children of the town. We also realize that there are other needs. But once again, if I didn't tell you what we needed, you wouldn't know. And in making decisions that you make, you wouldn't know what we're not getting. So I felt that it was important to say what we needed. I understand what the gentleman here is saying, and I do certainly understand that. You want me to advocate for the children, that's why I'm here, but I also feel the responsibility to work with Mr. Costello and with selectmen to be part of the town. And that's what I hope we're doing.
I have a couple questions. I certainly appreciate what you're saying, and I have two small children, so I'm paying a little more attention to the schools than I have in the past, I can tell you that. And my little guy, oof, he's going to give you a run for your money, I can tell you that. 77% of your budget goes to salaries. Do you know what the average is across the state as far as school departments?
It's all between 65 and 80, yes.
It's a labor intensive.
Yes.
There's no way around it. But, part of our design, we don't want to be a level 3 school district anymore.
I don't want you to be a level 3
No, you
district
don't,
school anymore
because
either.
while we get some support, that support too is going away. A couple of years ago and last year when we were a level 3, we got some support from the state because we were a level 3. It's going away. So we don't want to be left with a level 3 school district, because when people move into towns, they want to know, what kind of a school district do you have? What kind of schools do you have? What do they look like? How well do they educate? What is the level that you support? So if I can go to the town next door at a level 2, I'm going to go.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah, exactly.
And that doesn't reflect the good teachers we have. It reflects the growth. And I think we're headed in a good direction, and I would hate to stop that flow.
This year, we got a 0.5% increase in our Chapter 70 money, and it looked like last year we got maybe a 0.6%.
It was still $25 a student.
Still, so 2 years in a row, we got $25 a student.
Correct.
I have a list here that Mr. Costello gave us. It shows there's a number of towns, and similarly situated towns, that have a much higher increase percentage-wise. Do we have any idea why it's working against the town of Middleborough? I personally have a huge problem that someone in a town a little north of us, their children seem to be worth a 10% increase, where the children in Middleborough are worth a 0.5% increase. And I'm dying for someone to explain that to me.
I understand it just a little bit. So they started with a plan, the state, in providing the same percentage, I believe, across the state to every town. But they started with the districts who needed the money first. So we're up to like 50% of our foundation budget is provided by the state. Other communities, like the one you speak of, the state probably provided 17%, and they provided the rest. So now the goal over a 7-year period was to get everyone to the same, this is how I understand it, to the same percentage with state aid. During that whole 2007 to 2009, when the wheels fell off, they kind of stopped that and had a lot of ARRA money and SFSF money. So now, last year, they started back on that track. So
that's when we got nothing again?
Sorry?
That's when we got next to nothing again?
Correct. The wealthier districts, they're trying to get them closer to their 50% or whatever.
So they're being rewarded for paying more. On the other hand, towns that can't afford to pay more are not paying more because they can't afford it. So basically, the formula is broken. It has been broken for a number of years. We've certainly spent many hours talking to our representatives, congressmen, senators, and our last conversation, while the people are usually very empathetic politically, they're not going to do anything this year. And that's basically why we are where we are. And while there may be some other more affluent districts who are getting more money, and their students are in a much different position, and we are not. And that bothers all of us. I mean, we're as bothered by that as you are. Disappointed and wondering why.
I would have used the word disgusted, but that's just me.
Well, it's not necessarily politically correct for me to say disgusted, but I'm sure I could find a synonym for it.
I'm way past politically correct on this one. Now, the special education circuit breaker, we spent, tell me if, please correct me if I'm wrong. We're spending $1.6 million on our special ed this year, and we're getting reimbursed $451,000.
Right, so our anticipated tuitions for next year is 1.6. We're getting reimbursed 450 based on what we paid in 2013. And then.
So Middleborough is paying $1.2 million for our special ed, and the state is graciously giving us.
It does fluctuate. It goes up and it goes down. As you saw, we, a couple of years we were in the good, more, 600,000, and the share just doesn't equal out for us. Now, next year, after we pay 1.2, we'll get that back.
Thank you.
So overall, the budget has increased 6.25%. The proposed budget is being an increase of 6.25%, and our state aid has increased 0.5%. That's kind of the bottom line.
Correct.
That's
All right.
correct.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions, comments?
Yeah, well, we're speaking about numbers. The state seems to have $100 million of the Chapter 90 money, which is different money, yeah, but it's $100 million that wasn't released by the governor last year. Supposed to release $300 million, only released $200 million. So that he's got $100 million stuck away somewhere. Tax revenues going into the state are, I think, $200 million above what they ever projected. And it seems to be getting better every day, but they don't seem to release the money to where they need it. But they do give us mandates. So part of your costs that you're incurring, even though they say, well, we'll give you this Chapter 70 money, then they say, oh, by the way, we need all this data to be collected. So they're cutting the amount of Chapter 70 money because you've got to put somebody to do this data collection, which is taking somebody away from, taking that money in teaching, away from teaching and putting it into data collection, one way or the other. Whether or not you're able to get the money because the budgets work, or if it doesn't work and you have to take somebody to do it, then we're getting less money in every year. And all we're doing is feeding something to the state that costs us money, and they have the money to be able to give it out. But they've made, like you said, politically they sat there and said they're not going to make any budget adjustments this year.
They would say that by collecting the data in the statewide, they can make sure that there's accountability from every school district and from every teacher to every administrator to every school district to the Commonwealth.
And then they've said before, if you take care of the special needs children, we will reimburse you 100%. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant 60. Well, I'll give you what I can give you, a couple bucks. Okay? So you tell me this, they tell you this story about, well, you give me the stats and the facts and we can help. I kind of doubt it. And that's why I think the folks out there have to get involved. And we need to change the people that are making these decisions. Because we need decisions made for the people, not for those people. We need those $100 million out here. Our streets need those repairs. Your school needs to work. And if we ever went to say, ooh, gee, let's get a school, let's talk about a school, you know, that the list of excuses you'd get on that one. So I think a letter writing campaign would be in order. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Lopes, did you have something?
Just a couple of questions. Assuming state aid is what it's going to be, that it doesn't change, what would have to happen in order for the budget that's been approved by the school committee to be approved at town meeting? What would that mean to general government budget?
Well, if I hit the lottery, we're doing okay. But until that happens, I don't know, I'm not sure.
You know, the revenue just simply isn't there. We did, in our last forecast meeting, we are going to be taking out of the budget the money we put in for snow and ice for next year, the $150,000 that we keep trying to put in the budget, but every year we keep having to take it out because we just don't have enough money to leave it in there. We end up putting it back in the fall from free cash. And we're also going to appropriate a third of the money that we are obligated to fund our mitigation account for health insurance. And that'll free up another $150,000, which then I'm going to recommend to the selectmen that we put that toward the school budget. But in terms of that kind of revenue, that's about as far as we can go without taking it from somewhere else, and there's really nowhere else to.
And that's how much total? Did you say 50,000 from the mitigation?
150.
150,000.
Yeah, I budgeted the full amount, 230,000, in 1 year, and I think we can put that in over 3 years. As I've said before, that mitigation fund is going to be available for quite a number of years, so we won't be needing all that money all at once.
So that would be 300,000 total? Okay, and what would be necessary in order to fund the total school budget request would be more like $1 million, is that right?
Well, I think that would be, then would be something like $600,000 away.
Okay.
$600,000 is multiple town departments or large parts of town departments or. No magic bullet here.
What is the net school spending figure for this year? Whoever knows that.
Yeah, I could look it up, but I don't have it in front of me.
Meaning, what is the town obligated to give to the
we are millions of dollars above net school spending. We fund more than the minimum, if that's what you're asking.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not even a consideration. We funded much more than net school spending for many years now.
What's the minimum required, about $8,000? That we're required to pay per student, the town?
Yeah, again, that's not a number I look at very often.
Yeah.
I can let you know.
It's different by each grade level, so it's.
Yeah, that's true.
It goes from pre-K to kindergarten, they're all equal different amounts.
All right.
So then, what happens to the school budget if the town can come up with 300,000, but not the additional 600,000?
Plan B. Plan B.
Which would some of the positions be funded and that you're looking for, and if so, which ones?
Well, I can't speak to that right now because I'm still in Plan A.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any other questions? All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your attention.
I wish we could do more. I really do.
I understand that completely. I feel as if, as I said before, we're part of the town, and we're telling you what we need, and we know that you're going to do the very best you can. These are your children.
Okay, town manager's report.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. McKinnon was just referencing Chapter 90 funding, and the first letter I have is from Governor Patrick telling us the amount that we'll be receiving in Chapter 90 for 2015. It's the $200 million that we got last year, and it's short $100 million again, even though now the legislature has passed his transportation bond bill. It's still only $200 million, so it's very disappointing. You know, $874,000 sounds like a lot, but it isn't when you think about, you know, and when we get the pavement management plan, it'll, you know, be very clear how inadequate that number is. I hope the new governor, whoever that may be, maintains the commitment to a $300 million Chapter 90 program. The second item, just as you know, every year we do get credits from Maya for our property and casualty and workers' comp insurance. This year they amount to about $4,700, which is always welcome, and we're very happy to have them. The third item, again, I think I mentioned this at a previous meeting, but we did advance our Everett Square reconstruction project through the Mass Department of Transportation. It was approved at the project review committee level, meaning that it is a project eligible for funding. We need to complete the design and do some other items, but this gets us on the road toward finally, getting some state assistance to do that program. As you know, we've been attempting to get that funded through the MassWorks grant program, or is it Mass Jobs these days? I sometimes forget which iteration of that fund is current, but we haven't been successful. So we're looking to do the project through the Transportation Improvement Program, and currently there are several years over the next 5 years where there's more than $1 million uncommitted. So if we can get the design done, get it up to 25%, we might be able to get the project funded, in the not too distant future. So that's what we'll be working very hard on over the next coming months. We have a preliminary design. We need to sit down again with the abutting property owners and make sure that they're comfortable with it, and we'll be doing that, and then coming back to you and getting your approval as well. Finally, I have on in my report our goals for the current fiscal year, just to review where we are. We've made great progress with the tourism committee, as Selectman Dolphy has been reporting. We've gotten the state to accept our rotary improvement design. I did talk to the project manager, or actually I got an email from the project manager last week. Their modeling is complete. They'll be setting up a meeting with us in Middleborough to present where their current design is. So I expect that to happen in the next couple of weeks. We have been meeting, as we did tonight, with our various boards and committees. We're more than halfway through those meetings. At the very bottom of this document is the, well, we call it a single-page permitting guide, but it's actually a couple of pages, but it's going to be on the website, so who cares if it's a couple of pages. But if you have any comments on that, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll get that up on the website, and that'll be a resource for people who are looking to get permits here in Middleborough. I think it, in a general way, gives people guidance about who they need to talk to, and what types of permits they may have to apply for, and that includes those with the board. WRPD permits and earth removal permits are up there. So that will be complete, shortly. I did give an interim report just tonight about where we are with the recycling and trash pickup plans. So we'll be returning to that fairly soon, and returning to you fairly soon with a recommendation. The discussion of regionalizing or not regionalizing our retirement system is ongoing. I'll be meeting with our various bargaining units in the upcoming month, and that's going to be on the agenda with all of them, is to talk to them about why we probably need to have our own retirement system, and we're going to need their support if we're going to get that through town meeting. Assessed operating costs, we did last week have a meeting, and Superintendent Weiss and Ms. Piatelli were at that meeting, along with Jim Harding, the facilities director, and a couple of our members of the Green Energy Committee, and talking about performance contracting and whether or not that's a, I'm sorry, I left out a couple of representatives, Ms. Crowley and Sandy Richter from the G&E were also there, talking about whether a performance contracting approach would work for us in terms of upgrading some of the systems on our building, trying to use some of the savings from energy cost reductions to pay for some upgrades, equipment, boilers, lighting, various other things that would fit under the category. We're going to have a follow-up meeting, with perhaps one of the vendors to talk some more about that, but we've at least started that discussion. Domestic flooding, we understand that there's some progress being made, hopefully on funding the study that we need, and we're still waiting on our pavement management program. We are a couple weeks behind that complete study, but we should have it shortly. So that's where we are with goals. We're making progress on all of them. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Anybody have any comments or questions on the goals? We may know more about the Nemasket flooding by the end of the week.
Good.
Oh, just because it's going to rain Wednesday, Thursday. The water's still pretty high.
Not officially, no, just no.
I mean, to be honest with you, that's what tells you the truth. Like, you can have as many models as you want, but if it rains and it's floods, that's what it is.
That's a model.
Correspondence. Mr. McKinnon, do you want to go first?
Actually, I have nothing tonight.
Mr. Knowlton.
Certainly. There are a few job postings that I'd like to just read. Item number 2, Middleborough Gas and Electric Department. They're looking for a construction and maintenance department apprentice. All interested applicants should apply in writing to Bernard W. Gosson, Gas Division Manager, 2 Vine Street, Middleborough, Mass. 02346. Applications are available at the Gas Division office located at 2 Vine Street, Middleborough. 40 hours a week, overtime as required. Responsibilities. I believe if you're a construction and maintenance department apprentice, you might know what those are. So, the posting closes on April 25th.
Just 3 days ago.
So I'm not reading that one. All right, let's go on to number 6. Hopefully they got someone there. Did they?
Huh?
You're right.
Sorry.
Wow.
We had a holiday, so it probably came in.
Does Mr. Montepert know if they... Couldn't tell you. Okay. There's also on number 6, they're looking for, the school department is looking for a licensed refrigeration technician, HVAC. All applications, let's see, this was posted April 11. The application deadline also is April 25th, so we're going to move on to number 7, which is our last job posting, and this one also closed on April 25th. Hopefully these jobs did find people. This was a part-time minibus driver, and I'm hoping all those people did find someone to fill the positions. Okay, I'm done.
You should read them before you read them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Knowlton.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Let's see. Diane, would you like to go next?
Sure. I noticed that our town manager sent a letter to
SERPED, yes.
SERPED, yes.
Southeast Regional Planning and Economic Development District.
Thank you. About looking into putting a light on Route 28 in front of Hannaford.
Something that the board requested that we do.
And Also note that the Conservation Commission voted to put some conditions on property located, it's A+ Waste on, I think it's 88 River Street. So we did put a number of conditions, for the order of conditions on that property, so that's all I have.
Ms. Delpy?
Okay, real quickly, on Thursday, May 1st, the DPW is giving out seedlings, maple trees that will be starting at 9 o'clock at the DPW, 48 Wareham Street, to Middleborough residents. Also, to let you know, they're going to be doing work on Vine Street on the water main. And that was to begin April 22nd. So,
Still ongoing.
it's ongoing, though. If you have, yes, your water should not be down any more than 4 hours. If you have a problem, you can call the water department. Just to let you know that that's going on. There is work on the water main on Vine Street, and that's all I have.
All right.
Should be renamed the Old News Information Hour or something.
But it's still going on, yes. Yeah.
I just reiterate what Ms. Stewart brought up. Serpent is looking into the feasibility of a traffic light at the Hannaford intersection on Route 28. Can get a little dicey there at times. But luckily, the way the lights are at the 28-105 intersection, you pull right out of Hannaford into that line now. So that's nice. But other than that, I think we're good.
You guys want everything. You don't want to crash, but you don't want to wait for the light, you know? I mean, it's cut down the accident rate down there.
I don't go during peak times. It's a simple solution for me.
There you go. See? One less thing, one less car.
So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much, folks.